Welcome to Tech Talk. Hello all. Uh, the
Hi.
show where the show where business meets technology. So each week we dive into the cutting edge of cybersecurity, data centers, cloud innovation, and the ever-evolving world of fintech. So whether you are a tech leader, a business strategist, or simply passionate about the future, in our channel, we present insights, trends, and conversations that shape tomorrow's digital landscape. For today, our guest is Irene Katzela. Irene Katzela is the business owner of the company Axio4Tech, and she is a visionary chief technology officer with many years of experience in driving digital transformation and engineering innovation for high growth organizations. So welcome, Irene. It is a real pleasure to have you on our channel.
Thank you very much. Very nice to be here.
So we have been a little bit discussing. I understand that you're coming also from a background of a consulting firm, and you are operating in the areas of network and security. So, in that aspect, from your experience, what are the main challenges of these consulting firms in this area? So, if you would have some key challenges to mention. So, what is your experience in this area? So, what are consulting firms up against when they meet customers in the network and security space?
That's a very interesting question. Yes, I mean that depending also what type of consulting you're talking about, there is a lot of generalized kind of consulting out there that pretty much they just rehash what it is the latest and greatest, but in a very superficial level. There are other consulting firms that they focus in delivery, and there are other consulting firms that they focus on delivery of very hard problems to solve. So there's kind of consulting. It's used like an umbrella, catch all kind of term. So it is very difficult to say, I mean, which ones of these you are just talking about. So because they vary a lot from very large firms to specialized firms in certain areas and so forth. So Axio4Tech is actually mostly a small operation, and it just really focuses on how to just really introduce new technologies to very complex environments. And environments like that, it is like uh, telecom, banks, pretty much everybody who has a very huge and very complex network. So in environments like that, there are certain, first of all, as a good consultant, what you want to do it is to make a difference for your client. You want actually their money that they spent with you and your team just to be in a good place, and that means that you need to understand really their problem, not the problem that they might perceive that they have. So just to give you an example, everybody's talking these days, we have to put AI on everything. Okay, so blanket kind of things like that are not going necessarily help a business to solve a problem. A good consultant goes the other way around. It just try to find what are the pain points, uh, what is actually the problem that you like to solve, and why you need to solve this problem. So is that something that it is absolutely necessary to have it resolved? Is something that is nice to do, or it is an expansion kind of project, which is a little bit more preparing you for the future. So even the style of consulting and the style of things that you do, um, it varies a lot. So from one edge, it is actually the one end. It is what I call it, break and fix. So something
Mhm.
happened. It is actually very dramatic. You need somebody to go there and just help clean up the mess. I don't have any other better way to describe that. There are other things that they are more interesting in some ways because it gives you actually the possibility of introducing new technologies. Is when the business is going through initiatives for information transformation into the networks and into the processes. So, yeah, I mean, we're specializing in networks, but also the process and preparing the people. It is it's very important as part of a consulting assignment.
Yeah. So I guess that your company engages in consulting with big companies, with big telecom companies, and with big projects. So if I understood that correctly. So in that specific area that you are engaging, how difficult is to gain the trust of your end customer or to actually gain a project or be admitted as a partner or as a consulting firm. So how difficult is that for in your experience to actually gain this trust and win this customer?
Yeah, that most of the times the entry point, like if it is a new customer, it is the most difficult because and also you having to compete with different sizes companies and also with different better marketing departments, quite frankly, right? So the model that we have, just because we do not have in any particular desire after so many years in that business to just expand and go from a handful of very able engineers to I don't know, thousands of them. It was never. It is actually to just make sure that you have a roster of companies that they have worked with you before. So I have to say that most of our businesses are coming from different from references from other businesses that and also from other projects that happening inside existing clients. So sometimes I mean the cycle it is much larger in the sense that pretty much it might be that you have a project with a big company today, but then it might just pass another year until they have something. So it is the quality of the work that makes them remember you in a lot of ways. Just cold calling, all of these things. I mean, I know that a lot of people advocate, just blast everyone with resumes or just cold calling. I don't think that it is actually the proper way to go, especially if you want to create a long lasting relationship with your clients. And I think that for longevity of the business and everything, it is much more important than just we see all of us. We have seen what's happening these days, right? We're using AI primarily. I mean, a lot of people just really to blast with uh, information, all of us. Okay, so the thing is that in the end you have to put your bot to be against the other bot if you want some peace of mind. Uh, so it is kind of a game of the bots at this point when it comes actually to attracting business.
How interesting comments. the sales took the blast a little bit here with cold calling,
Yeah, yeah, but
sales teams. Um, but I also understand the environment you operate in. So it's a big organization. So you will have a handful of them, for example, most
oh,
mainly.
not necessarily, because pretty much one of my passions for the last decade or so, it was actually mostly in introducing new technologies like blockchain
Mhm,
and AI in environments, and also foster the innovation and just getting that to the point that they need to be, especially for blockchain. So my background is very heavy on networks, as we have discussed before. So I just, from the research development and commercialization of technologies that go to networks, and a particular specialization in network management, performance management, all of them actually once upon a time when I started working on them, because I did also my PhD in that area. I mean, how to perform and protect networks and identify failures in the networks. It was kind of, okay, do we really need it? And pretty much at the time, I can understand nobody, maybe that was the idea. So you can say that it was a little bit forward thinking from even from that point on. Which actually now quality assurance and everything, it's an absolute necessity in any business, small and large.
absolutely.
I spend a lot of time actually either donate my time or actually helping startups in the area of evolving the networks. Not every startup is going to be successful. We know that the
Absolutely.
percentages are just. But at the same time, there's two things. It keeps you actually thinking about new ideas, and no matter if the startup it is successful or not, the whole process actually gives you a lot of knowledge that you can just transfer. And it's always fun to learn something new. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we will take as a keynote summary, you will be remembered by the quality of your work, right?
I believe that we just really discounted a little bit. Actually, I'll be remembered. I would like. I was just putting what I'm going to put in my tombstone because I don't know yet. But no, what I mean is that quality. Although we're just asking about quality of service, quality in everything.
Yes, yes. No,
Uh, it
it is
is
a very
important, but somehow that it is a little bit lost in the translation when it comes actually to the humans or the people, or that you're just getting to deliver a project and all of that. So
absolutely, absolutely. Quality is really important. So if this is not there, this is one of the key elements of service delivery. And if it's not there, and it's a little bit difficult also to measure. For in some contracts, you can have specific terms that measure quality. Maybe also in some discussions, it's not so easy to track this in a service level agreement. What is quality exactly? But
no,
we
in networks is easier, right? Because you have the metrics. So I put a lot of systems up to do quality, assurance for networks, like the network. If you're talking about, the human factor, yes, that is, first of all, it's not my
exactly.
expertise, but of course, it is the human factor. And also, it is a big conversation how you define quality in the delivery.
Absolutely. And since we are in this discussion and we are discussing about quality and people, so for you, from your experience, because you are depending on your people, on the consultants that will work on your projects, so how hard is for you to find skilled people that you can trust? Is it s- how so if you will need to hire a new person, how hard is to find such people?
Hmm. I must say that the people that I collaborate with, they are just actually people that have done projects together. I know them and I know where they're coming from. Uh, the type of problems that we attack, they need also a level of understanding of the problem. So that's why you see that most of the people that I just really put in projects, they are more senior in the sense that they have seen more stuff. So I don't say that we don't like juniors. I mean, people have to learn. But it is actually the problem, and certain problems, I mean, needs to have the experience. I have a very tough problem, and I'll give you an example because I also help in the startups to create actually as they call it fractional CTO or CTO, just pretty much small operations. They don't know how to create, an R&D and delivery organization. So somebody like me, I mean, I can just really put some structure in place. And in that case, it is the biggest problem because there you're just having tons of resumes. And I have to say that it is actually a little bit of fatigue for me just to read every resume. It is magnificent. Everybody knows everything and have done pretty much everything and an expert on everything. I don't believe that. So the interview, it is uh, a second kind of just having a one-to-one who takes a lot of time, right? And still you cannot reveal that until you see the person just really work. And it's not only do this person knows networks, can they do this, can they do that? That's one thing. The other thing it is, okay, so can they also be a consultant, because we're talking about consultants in this particular case. So be a successful consultant takes more than actually knows your stuff, because you having to communicate that, you have actually to have the people skills to be in an environment that it is mixed, because you are going to get into an environment that to work with other people that they are full-time employees of the company for a period of time. You have actually to just create a rapport. So just know it's not only I know my stuff, leave me alone. Okay, that does not necessarily
Absolutely.
work.
Working with
And
others.
yeah, and then you have also the other kind of end in that conversation, just to be fair, right? So there are people that they have the talk for hours, but it is actually very high level. So pretty much, I mean, when it is the time to real deliver, uh, the depth is not there. So that it is actually a very challenging thing just to find quickly qualified people. And again, depending on the level of the project, and a lot of times uh, there is actually, they say, okay, um, consultants from established firms or firms actually they deliver difficult problems, they might be more expensive. And there is actually a tendency to say, oh, we're getting 10 people for the price of five, or I don't know what it is, the ratio. Um, I can prove, and I have proved it through deliveries of project, that that equation does not really, it's not the proper equation. If you're getting people involved in projects because they are cheaper and you can get them in bulk, does not necessarily mean that it's going to help your project in the long run. They might actually cost you in the end more money. And an example of
Absolutely.
that is that because this it is also what a person that knows what is doing can do in an hour versus as somebody who just learning or don't know what is doing. Let alone that in very sensitive environments you have also the additional risk of touching important systems. So an error, a mistake, something in there, it is very costly for everyone. And also, if you have ever just been involved in delivery to production, which actually in more established organization has a very strict kind of process, you have actually to very, very closely mitigate all the things you can think of about how to revert your system in case of an error.
So on this topic, a lot of companies and a lot of business owners are rethinking their approach about hiring people. And with the advent of AI, in many areas, you have synthetic virtual agents that can take over and cover some of the responsibilities that used to be carried out by human beings. For example, in security, that could be assessments, for
Mhm.
example, or security certifications, or in network operations, it could be AI agents that monitor networking complex systems and they alarm when something happens, and even proactively go to fix it. In your experience, have you seen such systems, or are you using such synthetic AI systems in order to perform your consulting services? Are they useful?
Mm.
What is your experience?
Okay, so just to put things in the proper perspective, this is actually the, if you like, the dream of the systems, right? I mean, so you will see in this month and next month, there are going to be a lot of articles about the transformation of telecom through AI and the systems, and especially how to can use that in order to manage your network more effectively. That one, it's not a bad thing because actually you have in the you're transferring a lot of knowledge to machines, which actually could operate very well if it is prepared properly, right? So you call it now AI. I mean, for the performance assurance that I mentioned, all the failure management, we always have tools that actually they will just really monitor all the time, they make some inference and so forth. So the AI in the current gives you the possibility about having, a more powerful tool. And yes, I see that a big, good, wonderful future in there. You have also to be very, very specific. AI over the years, even from the 1950s, that pretty much none of us were there, but pretty much, I mean, if you look at from the history, um, it was there. Actually, the term was just really appeared in 1950s. However, it went through a lot of bad times, or actually a lot of turbulent times, because the thing is that always promised too much. Okay, so now we have the computational capacity and enough knowledge that the machines or actually algorithms can just ingest and give you actually some insight. However, still, the inference that they can do, it is based on things that they have seen before. And in networks, from my experience, especially when it comes to failure or to performance, the one that is going to baffle you and create actually the most problems from you, and you need to stop it right away, it is a problem or actually a degradation of performance that you have not seen before. So, if it is something at the easiest end, right? I mean, how I can balance traffic, it's not easy, but
Mhm.
actually we know enough by now to know that if you just employ some AI engines in there, you don't need to do a configuration of the network that typically takes reconfiguration, might take longer. I mean, already we have passed the path that you needed actually a day or two or whatever it was just to reconfigure, your routers, okay? Because we are just really transitioned to software systems more, to clouds and all of that. So we have become more agile about adjusting parameters. So see that as an extension. Yes, these can be actually very useful tools about things you have seen before. The AI, it's not at this point in a place that you can give her a completely new problem, something that I haven't seen before, and say this is what you're going to do, and that it is not a problem because the machines cannot do that. I mean, I don't even want to predict is that possible. Okay, there is a lot of from philosophical to
Yes.
experimental kind of ways. One day it might be. I mean, who would ever thought that in 30 years we have just really go so far with every all of the technologies that we're just using today, and we take it quite honestly for granted, right? So in 30 years it is not such a huge, I mean, the last 30, 50 to 30 years, they have just done incredible things. I mean, everything has been transformed, the way we communicate, the way that we live our lives, and so forth. So I don't say that AI cannot just really learn to think. I don't see that right now it is able to learn to think. So that's why actually you see some hybrid models that they call it, human in the middle,
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
because pretty much, I mean, there the inference you can do with your own brain and your own experience could just help the give the proper nudge to the system to go to a direction. Also, there are a lot of false positives that we have seen. So, yes, there is an amazing amount of data out there that AI it is using and creates the models. But again, they're models. So you're as good as your model and as good as the data that you feed your model, and how actually you prepare all of that. So I will say that it is, don't see that as a replacement mechanism. See that as another tool. Okay, once
As
upon a
something
time,
complementary.
yes, and involve it in there. So it is not okay. I can do things faster, and I just put my problem in AI. Like, I mean, I see people just put a problem in there, even programming problems, and they give you a code. Okay, but what they give you, do you know that it works, right? So the thing is that it is laziness sometimes that say, okay, it looks good, you have all the colors, has all the graphs, it should be okay. And as we know that in a lot of cases there is a lot of wrong kind of results based on what you asked and how you asked it and how precise you were in that. So in that way, you need to just have an understanding of what you want to solve and what it takes in order at least to just make it, the question, or what you're solving, um, properly defined.
So in your business, it will still take a while before you will be able to use a synthetic
No, we're using
consultant, right?
synthetic consultant, no, but synthetic traffic, synthetic, simulated traffic and all of that. We're using that for years. Algorithms, all of these. You might not just being as, advanced as it start becoming, but there is actually there is a value. I don't see right now that you can just really substitute everything, because from my experience, from the theory of failure propagation in networks and all of that, I mean, some of the biggest early on problems and issues that they brought complete networks down. I mean, decades ago, it was just because there was a bug inside, a process that was just propagated in the entire network. And as a result, that was not debugged properly. So I think that it is a little bit too early to say a machine can do everything better that on its own. It is too early. But it is not too early to say, okay, there is a huge good synergy between uh, faster computation and but also what a human brings in there. So sometimes, I mean, you can see beyond that based on your experience. You can even just really, I mean, may I dare say, feel it where the solution is before even you have the solution. And yes, for people that they love the technology and they understand that. I mean, sometimes it goes that direction. You say, okay, I don't know exactly how to solve it, but I know the way to go. So I will say it's a good synergy. It is not a threat, at least it is a threat in certain aspects, for certain kind of jobs and so forth. Especially lower level jobs. I realize that. But at the same time, I mean, let's not be absolute about everything. So there is good and bad things, and it's also how you are going to apply it.
Thank you for the comments. It's really insightful. Yeah, it is, as you said, more like a synergy of synthetic or virtual agents work or offering service to a human in the middle or something or human supervision in order to perform the tasks, and that goes more and more into that direction. And Irene, additionally, you mentioned that uh, you are offering services to organizations as a CTO, right? Or you're potentially offering that. So when you step in into this organization, can you say a little bit what will be the challenges of the CTO? So what would you be called upon to resolve, or why you are there?
Why I'm there? Because um, especially if it is younger organizations, smaller organizations, it means that everybody wears a lot of hats and pretty much they don't know where to start. So typically a CTO in a startup environment, which actually it's a wonderful environment to work, but if you have actually very strong nerves and actually you understand that everything is going to be a little bit on the air for most of the time, right? It's because it is actually a startup environment. So you have a lot of enthusiastic people, and you have in very little processes in places. They might not need. They might not know exactly all the areas that they have gaps from where to put the resources that they are going to be fundamental for them. Ad- and also guide them how to create the structure, having internal people, because even a lot of startups, they starting with completely external kind of tech teams, which we need another podcast to discuss that part and what the risks might present. But it is always, if you are just building a business, you need to build, your foundation, and the people, especially the first hires and everything. It is your foundation. The other thing that the CTO is doing is that it is actually kind of, I don't know, player coach, right? So you're not there to manage people only. I mean, you're there to transfer the knowledge that you have, to empower people to go and look where to find things that they don't know. Okay, nobody knows everything, but there are people that are more comfortable go about to just find that. You also are because you are just interfacing also with the executives, like the CEO, the C, and all of that. You're responsible for budget, which typically it is very constrained. You are responsible about representing actually the question that investors might have. Okay, yeah, I know that you have a good idea. Can you build it? So the thing is, somebody has to show that there is actually the know-how, and there is also the maturity in the know-how that you are going to just have a better probability of delivering that particular project. And sometimes, I mean, I want to describe the CTO role as an unidentified role, right? Pretty much, I mean, you have everything. So whatever it is not covered by anybody in the tech team, pretty much, you have to pick it up. It is interesting. It is challenging, can be exhausting at times, but as I say, I mean, there is a special kind of environment, especially in startups, just to see things working for the first time or not working for the first time. So it is this kind of excitement. And with my background in, you know, research, pretty much, I mean, you are already, I mean, I'm conditioned. I just grew up in an environment like that. I mean, not to know if you know what you're just building is going to work or not, like early, when you're just doing
Really?
research in the
Really?
lab and all of that. Yes. If you're doing a
And
PhD, do you know that actually what you're proposing is going to work? No. You have to do the work in order to just see it.
so on the financial part, because you mentioned that the CTO will manage also the funds or some of the funds or some of the budget.
Mm.
So because in our, let's say, experience, we know that this is usually run by the financial officer or the chief information officer. So in your experience, you will have environments that the CTO will manage budget directly, not going through a CFO or a
No,
CIO.
no, no, no. Actually, in a small environments, because you don't, you might have a CFO that does also, you know, a lot of other things. You do not have the luxury most of the time to have a separate technical budget because the CTO, even in bigger organizations, always manage a budget, but it is the technical budget, which actually means system expenses and also, you know, people expenses and anything that has to do with tech. In that There is an additional challenge in most of the startups, unless, I mean, you have raised a substantial amount, that they cannot, it's too early to differentiate the budget between technology or not. So you need actually to always justify what it is. I mean, I always built my budget as if all the money were there, and then you just try to go from what it is the absolute essentials, and you just build from there. But no, it's in small organizations typically. I mean, I will say that when a startup goes to set third, maybe second, third year, or have raised some substantial money, then actually it is much better just to really you could actually ask and say, okay, this is my budget, because also you have a roadmap to deliver, so you need more people and all of that. So no, it is under the CFO as in any company, but always CTOs in small and large ones, they need they keep 'em- they keep things on a budget.
So you make us feel a little bit intimidated in a sense
Why?
that CTO in a small startup or in a young startup, you are in the jungle and everyone is about to attack you.
No, 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 no. You shouldn't see the opportunities, okay? See how exciting it is. You don't have a dull moment, okay? So the thing is that, yeah, it goes 10 minutes at a time, okay? Because you never know. But most of, uh, yeah, they're just actually, you have to just take every environment, for what it is and just adapt. uh, I don't say that it is for everyone. some people, I mean, they need more predictability, right? So I just be on my chair at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'm out at 5, right? So it's acceptable, it's nice. I never had it in my life. I mean, I suppose that it- so it is not. I mean, if you have a mindset that actually it is delivery related, so time, hours, these things start not to pay so much attention. And no, it is important. I'll try to get a balance in life, but you just and at the same time, you need also to put some boundaries, right? Don't get me wrong about that, because sometimes your willingness to do a lot, it is interpreted that people can take advantage of you, right? In whatever level of an organization, even other colleagues and stuff like that, right? And this is not only for small businesses or startups. It is also true for larger organizations.
Which brings us to a much bigger topic. Where are the boundaries between a balanced personal life and a balanced professional life, which is a very big discussion. It varies from person to person, but exactly.
I will say that actually a little bit of time management, right? So I know that um, if you have if you look at okay, so a day has 24 hours, okay, so there's enough time to fit all of that. It takes a little bit of discipline. It will not always be there, but I think that there is space to give time for yourself, time for your family, and still be good to with your work and everything.
That's really helpful as a message. It definitely helps a lot of environments and organizations in shaping exactly what you're mentioning. And thank you very much for sharing this here. It's really helpful to actually do that. This is actually what you say. It is only time management.
Yeah, which is actually not an easy thing to do. I understand that. Uh,
This so nice. So, Irene, if you would close your eyes and you envision the future, or if you would see ahead, what do you see for Axio4Tech?
for the company,
Or
you
you?
know, for me, okay. Um, I mean, the only thing that I always just because uh, I always look ahead, it is actually the next challenge, right? So, and um, and I think that having problems to solve uh, keeps my mind going. I like to solve problems, uh, and apparently I'm good at it. So if I survive this business for as long as
That's
I
really
have,
nice. It is really okay to say that. Yes, I'm good at solving
what?
problems. It's so nice to say that.
Yeah, I mean that's actually the reason why. I mean that's why we have engineers. That's the definition of an engineer, right? Solving problems. And if they don't have
So
any
engineering
problems,
is in your DNA.
it is in my DNA. And if you don't have problems to solve, you create some. I mean, for the future reference. So, I'm not to say that you're breaking things, but you just thinking what it is next. So,
So
so
I
I
can.
think that what I just I would like to just really continue have a stream of very interesting, assignments and projects to work. And also, as I said, it is magical. I mean, we have to just. I know everything that it is out there, and the different points of view. If technology is good, is bad, is everything. I mean, nothing is good or bad. Okay, it is the way that you're going to use it, apply it, And there's also other parameters that I cannot actually comment because I'm not an expert. Because I mean, um, who is going to not necessarily regulate, but actually the guidelines on how we deal with all of that. Okay, and we'll see that right now the main parameter of any innovation is not the innovation itself, but it is who is going to benefit financially the most, the fastest. So, so this one I cannot fix it myself for people like me because actually it is in other hands, if you like. So, if I will, I will say that um, it's not actually for the my company or any company. It is at big, in a bigger scale of things that um, we need actually to pay also attention about the regulations,
Hmm.
um, the equal distribution of things. I mean, especially when it comes to AI, there is a huge area about ethics in AI and actually how it affects the
Which
the
no one is
outcome.
talking about. A
Huh?
topic of which no one is talking about.
No, it is actually no. There's a lot of people that they're talking about that, and interconnects with other kind of concepts like uh, distributed systems and decentralized systems, like the governance. Because in
Mhm.
the end of the day, it is all about governance. The more it is centralized, truly centralized, or actually advertised as not centralized, but really is. As I say, we need to have a lot of podcast about that. I mean, you're asking very, very complex questions.
So,
So,
like,
yes, but I will say for the AI, I will just say focus on the ethical uh, of the ethical part, and also, the truthfulness of the information, because that's another thing that we didn't touch at all, that yes, there's a lot of information out there that is going to feed our algorithms. How you can tell the true from the false.
mhm. So this is a dimension that you're bringing, the usability, the governance model, the ethical side of AI. So topics that usually in discussions are not being brought as the first topic to discuss, but you're mentioning that, and that's also really important and nice also to listen to these views that are really necessary. And decentralization, of course, is a topic that blockchain technologies are handling in at their best. So how to govern in a
Mm,
decentralized way.
again, another podcast because I do have actually a lot of years in blockchain
But
technologies.
that's the vision. So
Yeah, so
for
I
the
think
ethical side,
interesting
yeah,
problems.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting problems.
And
That's
for
what I.
Axio4Tech,
Hmm?
for
The
your company.
company, I mean, the company was never just really put in place just to grow like exponentially and become, another huge consulting company. I mean, it is a couple of people that they know their stuff very well and they love what they're doing, and pretty much they love to solve problems, and they can just really help others solve their problems.
So you are definitely a knowledge explorer, exploration in knowledge and topics. So it's really nice. Um, so, meaning that you really love to explore new areas of knowledge and expand your knowledge, and as you said, you have interesting problems to solve so that you can gain more knowledge by solving them, and you
And one way to
explore
expand your
things.
knowledge is actually sharing it. Because
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Was a real pleasure. If you would like to add something final about any topics or parts, um, from our side, we will wish the best for the future problems that you may be having, or the best for Axio4Tech. Thank you for your time being here.
Thank you so much. It was a delightful conversation, and it was very nice talking to you.
And thank you all for watching and listening. And until our next episode, thank you very much.